By the time the credits rolled on Doom the Dark Ages, I wasn't just satisfied, I was spellbound. Somehow id Software had done it again, but this time it's not just a sequel or a spin-off, it is a blockbuster. Doom the Dark Ages doesn't just reimagine Doom in a medieval context, it redefines it. And in doing so, it delivers one of the most bold, creative and awe-inspiring shooters of this generation. To understand what makes Doom the Dark Ages such a triumph, you first have to appreciate the risk involved. Doom Eternal already took the franchise to its logical extreme. Fluid combat, mind-bending platforming, and an arsenal that turned players into a one-man army of annihilation. So where do you go from there? How do you innovate when you've already perfected the formula? For id Software, the answer was simple. You don't just escalate, you transform. The Dark Ages isn't set in some future or some hell-torn Earth. It throws the Doomslayer into a mythic gothic past, fusing the series' signature brutality with a setting straight out of a dark fantasy. This medieval twist could have gone wrong in 100 different ways. Too gimmicky, too slow, too lore-heavy, but it doesn't. Instead, everything about this setting feels earned. From the second you step into the ruined temples and burning castles of Argentina, it becomes clear. This isn't just a gimmick. This is an evolution. The world is filled with suffering, glory, and fire. You don armor instead of a Praetor suit, you carry a shield forged in infernal crucibles. You wield weapons straight from nightmares, and yet, you still feel like the Doomslayer. No matter what century, no matter what tool, the spirit of Doom is always alive and roaring. Let's make one thing clear. Doom's combat isn't just shooting demons. It's about dancing with them. Every battle is a rhythm game of murder. You close gaps, prioritize threats, manage cooldowns, and stay constantly on the move. Doom Eternal mastered this loop. And now, the Dark Ages redefines it with a medieval twist that somehow doesn't slow the pacing, it enhances it. The new tools are a masterstroke. The flail is brutal, letting you cleave through fodder demons and chain combo attacks like your Kratos in his prime. The Dread Mace is a heavy yet empowering one-hit kill. It turns arena fights into brutal skirmishes that are more physical than ever before. You feel the weight of your actions in every swing, yet the game retains its speed through perfect design and movement options. Now let's talk about the Sentinel Shield. It's not just a block button, it's a tool for parrying, absorbing enemy fire and chaining into devastating counterattacks. In the hands of a skilled player, it becomes a second weapon, an extension of the Slayer's will. It adds a new layer of defensive mastery to the combat loop, forcing players to consider the timing and spacing like never before. And of course, the iconic Super Shotgun makes its return with its Terminator-style reload, sexy new aesthetics, and its capability of wiping out whatever is in front of you. It's truly the best the gun has ever been. Then there's the BFC, the Ballistic Force Crossbow. It's a medieval twist on the iconic BFG from previous Doom games. This weapon embodies the over-the-top brutality the series is known for, now reimagined through the dark fantasy lens. It's a massive, ancient relic of destruction. The BFC unleashes a devastating energy blast capable of disintegrating hordes of demons in a single shot. Its design is a fusion of brutal medieval aesthetics and unholy tech. Where the traditional BFG was a sci-fi plasma-based, the BFC feels like it was built to be wielded by a Slayer king, ripping through armies with sheer mystical fury. The weapon likely draws on the Doomslayer's rage, in essence channeling it into a catastrophic beam or explosion that obliterates anything foolish enough to stand in its path. Every encounter in Dark Ages feels handcrafted, designed to test your ability to adapt. Yes, there's still the classic arena design and traversal puzzles, but there's also siege, field battles, and boss fights that belong in the annals of action game history. And that brings us to the monster design. The mnemonic hordes have never looked this good, or this terrifying. Doom the Dark Age trades in the techno-demons of Eternal for something darker, more primal. The Titans, gargantuan beasts of hell that usually only can be taken down with unconventional weaponry, or a dragon. Due to their immense size, they tower over the battlefield with molten axes and skin flayed by divine fire. The Acolytes, twisted by the Witch's eldritch touch. These once hallowed sentinels are key for realms beyond to bleed into the worlds they once swore to protect. They float ominously, casting spells, and corrupt the ground to summon phantoms. Each of these new enemies tests a part of your skill set. id Software has clearly studied what made Eternal's combat so dynamic and then asked, how do we evolve this without overcomplicating it? The result is a combat ecosystem where every enemy is a puzzle and every weapon is a key. Let's pause the carnage and talk about the level design, because it is where the Dark Ages makes perhaps its boldest statement. Gone are the sterile, tech-heavy arenas of past entries. Instead, we get cathedrals built atop rivers of blood, forests twisted with infernal magic, fortresses floating above bottomless voids. The art direction is staggeringly good, equal parts Dark Souls, Berserk, and of course, classic Doom. Yet, it's not all just for show. The levels are intricately interconnected, with verticality, puzzle elements, and exploration rewards baked into their design. secrets abound, hidden crypts, lore pages, and gear upgrades. There's a meaningful incentive to explore, not just because it's rewarding, but because the world beckons you to dig deeper. This isn't just a place you fight in, it's a place you live in. And the music. Okay, Mick Gordon may not have returned, and that sucks. He is dearly missed in this game, but the new score does a serviceable job. It fuses Gregorian chants with industrial percussion, with distorted guitars that sound like they've been forged into hell itself. Every track is a battle rhythm, or battle hymn, urging you forward. But, I have to be honest, there's just something with the music that doesn't quite feel the same. What may surprise longtime fans is just how deeply Doom the Dark Ages leans into its narrative. It's not just a sideshow to the action, it's a tale of betrayal, prophecy, shattered empires, and a doomed legacy of power. Yet, crucially, it never forgets the Slayer at the heart of it all. In Doom the Dark Ages, cutscenes take on a more prominent and narrative-driven role than in any previous entry in the franchise. Where the earlier games like Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal leaned heavily on environmental storytelling and minimal dialogue, the Dark Ages embraces a grander, more cinematic approach, without sacrificing that raw intensity that defines the series. These cutscenes deepen the mythos of the Doomslayer, flesh out the medieval hell fantasy world, and provide context for the player's carnage-filled crusade. The Doomslayer has always been more of a symbol than a character, a mythic force of nature, not a man. But here, in the blood-stained cathedrals of the past, his origin finally comes into terrifying clarity. Without spoiling too much, the game explores the sort of first crusade against hell, the rise of the Sentinels, and the true meaning of the Slayer's pact with vengeance. It's intimate and cosmic all at once, and it hits like a warhammer. And through it all, the game never forgets that this is Doom. The narrative isn't weighed down by melodrama or exposition. It's interwoven seamlessly between action, unlocking deeper emotional payoffs when you least expect them. Yes, you still rip and tear, and now you know why the world burns. For all its brilliance in gameplay and story, Doom the Dark Ages wouldn't hold together without the technical and artistic execution that meets id Software's legacy standards. It doesn't just meet them, it obliterates them. On a sheer production level, this is one of the most stunning, seamless, and immersive games of the decade. The lighting system seems to have undergone a massive overhaul. Torchlight flickers dynamically off bronze armor, rain falls through stained glass windows in real time, hellfire distorts the air and casts long, haunting shadows. Even enemy blood splatter reflects environmental lighting now. It's not just polish, it's personality. The game's texture work, from moss-covered cathedral walls to molten rock veins beneath demonic bastions, look lovingly handcrafted. Doom the Dark Ages manages to be both grotesquely beautiful and beautifully grotesque. The art team deserves all the awards. Few games understand the power of sound like the Doom series. And while Mick Gordon's iconic industrial metal chaos defined the modern Doom identity, the Dark Ages wisely forces a new path. Composer Brian De Oliveira, best known for his Shadow over the Tomb Raider and Resident Evil work, takes the reins and crafts a soundtrack that is nothing short of thunderous sorcery. The score blends Gregorian chants, doom metal riffs, medieval instruments, and distorted electrical pulses into something completely unique. You have combat tracks, exploration tracks, and boss fight songs that erupt with infernal fanfares, layering demon growths behind industrial rhythms and string sections that have just gone mad. The sound design complements this perfectly. Weapons roar with heft, the flail clinks and thunders with bone-cracking force. Enemy screeches echo through crypts and caves, telegraphing their presence before you even see them. Every environmental sound, creaking wood, whispering winds, dripping blood, sells the illusion that the world is alive and dying. The mix is superb. No matter how chaotic the screen becomes, every sound element remains clear and intelligible. It's not just sound, it's tactical information delivered musically. Modern Doom has always been good at offering players control over how they experience the game, and the Dark Ages sort of continues this philosophy. There are dozens of accessibility options: remapping controls, full subtitle, colorblind support, enemy outline toggles, aim assist, and combat difficulty modifiers beyond the traditional ultraviolence and nightmare system. The HUD can be customized down to the smallest detail, you can toggle enemy health bars, simplify damage numbers, and rearrange inventory indicators, all of which is welcome in a game as fast and as dense as this one. Let's be honest. Doom the Dark Ages has no right to be this good. This game could have easily been a novelty. A fun but unforgettable side entry with a medieval coat of paint. It could have relied too heavily on nostalgia. It could have collapsed under the weight of its own ambition. But instead, id Software delivered something we rarely see anymore: a visionary reinvention that stays true to its soul while reshaping every surface. In an industry where so many sequels play it safe, the Dark Ages takes a leap of faith and lands with both feet, sword drawn, and fire in its eyes. It's not just a shooter, it's not just a Doom game. In a time where game ratings are often diluted by marketing pressure, inflated scores, or content bloat, it's important to clarify what a 10 out of 10 actually means. It doesn't mean perfect. It doesn't mean flawless. It means essential. It means transformative. It means There is nothing else like this. And Doom The Dark Ages earns that title violently and victoriously. It has combat that evolves without compromise, a world worth fearing and exploring, music and audio that transcend genres, a protagonist with soul, even though he barely says a word, respect for the past. Doom The Dark Ages belongs in the pantheon of the greatest single-player first-person shooters ever made, alongside Half-Life 2, BioShock, Titanfall 2, and Doom Eternal. It reminds us that fast-paced, deeply skillful shooters can still exist in a world bloated with open-world checklist games and live service mediocrity. This is a laser-focused, brutally passionate work of art. It doesn't beg for your time, it demands your best and gives you something divine in return. Doom The Dark Ages isn't just one of the best Doom games ever made, it's one of the best games ever made. Period. Well, that's it. We've come to the end of my review of the Doom, the Slayer trilogy. We're probably going to be going back to the Assassin's Creed games very soon, but is there a game series out there that you would like me to tackle, that you would like me to review? Please be sure to let me know down in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. I really do appreciate it. If you are enjoying Doom The Dark Ages as much as me, be sure to let me know down in the comments below. I've really, really enjoyed this game, and I really want to talk to people about it. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, everybody. And until next time, I hope your games be good ones, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, everyone.